Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Marion. Please subscribe to join the family. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to crochet this dress that you can rock to a party or at the beach, or you can rock it to a maternity shoot. This project is measurement based. I will show you how to achieve different sizes and different length so that you can make it according to your body type. For this tutorial, we are going to use medium weight yarn. I'm using Seagull. It's 4 ply and 100% acrylic. It's really thin, so I'll be doubling these strands to achieve medium weight. So if you have any medium weight yarn, you're good to go. And you need about 400 grams to complete this project. For that, I'll be using a 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. I also have my yarn needle and some stitch markers. You also need a scissors and a tape measure. Now we're going to use two particular measurements in this tutorial. You will need your widest measurement, be it your hips or your bust, and if you're making it for a pregnant woman, you will get their widest measurement, which will be at the stomach area. So you get that measurement. For me, I'm going to use my hip measurement, which is 36, and I will divide that by 2 because we are going to work in 2 panels. So my first panel is going to be 18 inches wide, so I will do 2 panels of those, so 18 inches. That is what I'm using in this tutorial. And then the second measurement that we need is the length of the dress, and my dress is going to be 50 inches long because I'm 5'1". You can definitely make your dress longer or shorter according to how you want it, but mine is going to be 50 inches long. So without wasting time, let's get right into the video. We're going to make a slip knot and make chains long enough to cover the length of the dress. I'm making my dress 50 inches long, so I'm going to chain 200. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So once you're done with your chain, we are going to start on row 1, and we are working with mesh stitches. A mesh stitch is worked with a double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next. So to do that, we're going to go into our 5th chain with a double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook in the 5th chain, make a double crochet. So we have kept 5 stitches because the first 3 are acting as our first double crochet, and the 4th chain is the chain 1. Now we've worked our first double crochet. To do the next, you are going to chain 1, skip 1, yarn over, and go into the next with a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, that is the next chain, and go into the next with a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, go into the next with a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, go into the next with a double crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, go into the next with a double crochet. So this is the pattern: chain 1, skip 1, go into the next chain with a double crochet. We're going to work this pattern until we get to the end of the chain. This is what you should be making by now. I'm left with a few stitches. Chain one, go skip one, going to the next with a double crochet, chain one, going to the very last one with a double crochet. So we have completed our first row, and now we're going to start row 2, and to do so we will chain 4. 1, 2, 3. The first 3 is a double crochet, and then plus the chain 1 space. So we're chaining 4, and then turn your work, and now we're going to go on top of the double crochet from the previous row and work a double crochet. After that, we will chain 1, skip the space, go on top of the double crochet from the previous row and work a double crochet. Chain 1 and work a double crochet on top of the next double crochet. Chain 1, work a double crochet on top of the next double crochet. So you will repeat this row, this pattern, until you get to the end of the row. I've come to the end of this row. I'm left with two stitches, so I'm going to yarn over and work a double crochet on top of this double crochet. Chain 1, make sure to skip 1 chain, this one right here, and then work a double crochet on top of chain 3. Then chain 4, and we are going to repeat row 2. You will turn your work and keep working the same pattern as row 2. So it's chain 1, double crochet in the next double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet in the next double crochet. You will work this pattern until you have you attain your measurements. I am working with 18 inches, so I will work this part until I attain 18 inches, and for me I'm going to do 26 rows. So I've done a total of 26 rows, and so far this is my work. So you should have these panels too, because we are going to join them, the back panel and the front panel, we're going to join them together. And now at this point, the measurements that you need to take are how long you want your slit to be, and also your armholes. Arms will be right here, your armholes, and then your neck area, because we'll also get the shoulder seam. And yeah, so we will connect everything together and you know, join the whole dress. Put both panels together and tried to mark where I want my seams to start and end using these stitch markers. So now here we have our neck area. This is going to be the neckline, and as you can see, I have mapped from here to here. This is going to be the shoulder seam. As you can see, I've put those together, and this is going to be the neckline, and also this is going to be the neck seam. And then right here, this is going to be the armhole. So I've mapped from here to here is about 7 inches, so my armhole is going to be 14 inches. And also I have marked this part of the dress where I want the slit to end. This slit is going to be very, very long because I want my leg out. So I've mapped this part, I've marked this part. So this is where the slit will start. So I'm going to use single crochets. I will show you, but just to illustrate, I'm going to use single crochets from right at this point of the dress where the slit ends up to underarm, and then we will construct our sleeve right here, but this is the armhole, and then another seam is going to be at the shoulder seam and at the shoulder seam. And then on this other side, this is where the armhole on this side is ending. This is the armhole, but now this seam starts from here all the way to the bottom of the dress. So let's get working on it and see how we are doing it, and then I will try put it on for you, and you just kind of see how all the seams are aligning, or rather I'll put it on the mannequin. I'm going to start with this shoulder seam right here. So insert your hook on this other side and just pull this yarn towards you, chain 1, and place 2 single crochets in each and every space. We're using single crochets, so just place 2 single crochets, until you get to the part you have marked off. Chain 1 and cut your yarn. Then once you're done with that part, you will skip and go to the other side. Also the part you have marked off, you attach your yarn right there. This is how I like to do it. I make a slip knot and just attach my yarn on this other side. So chain 1 and do those 2 single crochets. Let's remove this stitch marker first. So we're going to do single crochets in this first space and then go into the next space and do single crochets. We do single crochets until we get to the end of this part. So just like that, we have completed working the shoulder seams, leaving this neck part open. And when you're taking your measurements, please ensure that your neck part is enough for the head to pass through. Mine is a little small because I'm bald, I don't have hair, but if you're making it for someone that has hair, put that into consideration. So mine is how many inches? Just like 7.5 inches. So you can make 8 or 9 inches and ensure it's big enough or wide enough for you. So after we're done with that, we will cut. So now we are done with the shoulder seams. Let's get rid of those stitch markers. We'll come back later to clean off this part, but let's continue making the seams first. So once we're done with the shoulder seams, we will come back and now we're going to make the longest seam. So this seam is a side seam on the side that doesn't have a slit, the longest seam actually. So again, we will attach our yarn. So what I like to do is just make a slip knot and attach my yarn wherever I had marked off. And still we are making 2 single crochets in each and every space. So make 2 single crochets, 1, 2, and I'm going to make 2 single crochets until I get to the bottom of the dress. Now what we have done here, we have left this part, which is going to be we are going to attach our sleeve right here. So I want to work the side seam, and then once I'm done working all the side seams, we will come back and work this part. So once you're done with that longest seam, you will chain 1 and cut off your yarn. So basically we're done seaming one side, and now we will flip our work and get to the other side where we have the shortest seam on the other side, this one, because our slit, actually this part you can leave your slit as long as you want to. I want my leg to be out, like out there. So my seam is about 12 inches. My seam is 12 inches, and the rest of the fabric, this part, is going to be the slit. So also attach your yarn. Let's start from this end. Attach your yarn right here and work the seam until you get to the other part where you have marked off. Guys, this is what we have so far. We are left with the sleeves and just cleaning off everything. So this was the longest seam that we just did, this right here, and I am pleased with how the dress is turning out. The only thing that I can see is that slit is just everything, but I'm going to add a few inches down, like just like 5 boxes down. We're now going to work the sleeve, and at this point I have turned my work to the right side. This is the right side of my work, and this is the wrong side. And as you can notice, I did not cut the yarn when I was working the side seam. So I'm going to use this yarn to continue working this sleeve. So take your hook and chain up 3, 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to go into the very first double crochet and work a double crochet on top of it. Chain 1, go into the next double crochet and work a double crochet. Chain 1, go into the next double crochet and work a double crochet. Chain 1, into the next double crochet, work a double crochet. So we are going to work these double crochets all around this area until we get to this part. Chain 1, go into the next. Chain 1, go into the next, do a double crochet. Just ensure you work a double crochet on top of each and every double crochet and chain 1 in between them. Even at the seam, at the shoulder seam, place a double crochet on top of that seam and cross over to the other side and continue doing your chain 1 double crochet. So I have reached the last point. I'm going to chain 1 before now doing a slip stitch just inside this stitch. That space, you can do your slip stitch right there. And then now we will chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, turn your work, and now continue doing the same double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the next double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the next double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the next double crochet. So we are going to continue with the same pattern around this until we get to where we started from. So I'll meet you once I get to this point. So once you're left with one stitch, you will work a double crochet on top of it, chain 1, and then go inside of this space and do a slip stitch like that. Then chain up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, turn your work and continue working double crochets on top of each and every double crochet with a chain 1 in between. Again, I'm left with one stitch. I'm going to do a double crochet, chain 1, and then slip stitch into that space right there. So this is what we have at the moment. We have 1, 2, 3 rows. I'm going to work a total of 7 rows, and then we'll meet up and do the last row together. 2, 3, 4, always chain 4, turn your work, and then work a double crochet on top of the next double crochet, chain 1, and continue doing, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and do a total of 7 rows, and then we'll meet up once you're done. So now this is what we have at this point. The sleeve is already formed, but now we want to do that very last row. Before we go there, this point is totally up to you. You can do as many rows as you want. I chose to do 7 rows. You can do 10, you can do 5, according to you. Now I am going to make a row of just double crochets, so I'll chain 2, turn my work, and then now we're going to place a double crochet in this space and a double crochet on top of the double crochet from the previous row, another double crochet in that space, another double crochet on top of the previous double crochet. So we're just working double crochets. We do another double crochet in that space, and then the next double crochet on top of the double crochet. We're going to work these double crochets until we get to the end of the row. And this now will bring us to a total of 8 rows on the sleeve. Once you get to this part, place a double crochet inside of on top of that very last double crochet, and the very last one on inside that space, and then slip stitch on top of the chain 2 that we did at the beginning of the row, chain 1, and cut the yarn, because at this moment we are done with the sleeve. So this is what we have at the moment. This is what you should be having. I'm going to construct a chain that will act as a drawstring on this part to pull this this sleeve together like this. So I've used a 3.5mm crochet hook to construct this cord, this drawstring, and this chain is about 42 inches long. You can make yours as long as you want it. So using your yarn needle, we are going to thread this through these double crochets that we just made right now, and we'll be going in and out of each and every double crochet. So just insert your needle between those double crochets as I'm doing like this, as you pull your chain. Of course, you can use the same color of yarn that you used while constructing the dress, but I have decided to choose this color because it adds some playfulness to my project, and I actually love the way these two colors go together. You can choose the colors of your choice, but I'm using these two. So at this point we are done with the sleeve, and now you can just tie it and regulate the tightness of this cuff like this. Now you will do the same thing on the other side of the sleeve, and once you're done, we will now clean off all the edges, and basically we'll be done with our project. At this point, I can tell you congratulations for getting this far. You're almost done with your dress. The only thing that's remaining is cleaning off the edges, like the neck area and the slit, and after that we'll be done. So attach your yarn at the side, just where you completed your shoulder seam. Attach your yarn right there, and we are going to be using single crochets to clean off this area. So I will chain one and then place 2 single crochets inside of this part, this space. Place 2 single crochets, and then now we are going to continue placing 2 single crochets in each and every space until we get to the part where we have started. Remember, our work is the right side is facing us. We're not working on the wrong side. So when you get towards the shoulder of the other side, you will just place 2 single crochets in this space, and then cross over to the other side and place 2 single crochets in the next space, and continue placing 2 single crochets in each space across. We are almost done. place 2 single crochets in that very last space, and then now we will cross over to where we started. In that chain 1 that we did, we are going to do a slip stitch, chain 1, and cut this yarn. So with that, we are done with the neck area. The only part remaining is to weave in this yarning, this hanging threads, and I will do that once I'm done with my project. Now we want to clean off the hip. This is the slit, our longest slit, and then from the slit we will go right into this part, the hem on the dress, and then also do the slit, the other side of the slit. And now you remember when I said I'll add a few inches on the side, that is exactly what I'm going to do now. So please work with your measurements. If you put on your dress and see that you want to regulate this part a little bit, you can add a few stitches. Just work with your measurements to be sure that you're doing the right thing. So now I will remove this stitch marker because I know I'm increasing until the 5th. Now since we are working on the wrong side, I will turn my work a little bit and then attach my yarn right here. Yes, so we are going to attach our yarn just as we have been doing. Chain 1 and then place another single crochet inside of that. So this is our very first box, because I'm going to do this in 5 boxes. This is 1, 2 single crochets in the next box, 2 single crochets in the next box, 2 single crochets in the next box, and the very last one, 2 single crochets. And then I'm going to turn my work to the right because I want to work my seam, my single crochets, to clean off this side on the right side. So now that very chain that we just constructed, we're going to continue working with it. Of course, for you, if you are not adding any inches here, you have attached your yarn at this point, and now you will chain 1 and continue working 2 single crochets in each box until we get to the corner. 2 single crochets in each box. Remember, we're working on one side. We've started working on the slit. Two single crochets in each box until we get to the end of this part. So I'm going to continue down. Now once you get to the corner here, you will do 2 single crochets and locate the 3rd chain and do a single crochet, one single crochet in there, and then turn your work. And now we're going to start working on this edge, the lower edge, and we will go inside that very space and do 2 single crochets like that. So that single crochet we've placed at the corner is going to mark like the corner of that box. Now once we get to this point, we will do 2 single crochets and then locate the third chain and do a single crochet in there. This marks the corner of the project, and then we will do 2 single crochets inside the same space and continue doing 2 single crochets on the lower edge. Now So we'll continue doing 2 single crochets until we get to the other side of the dress. Once you get to this part where we have a seam, you will do 2 single crochets in the previous box and skip a seam and go to the next box and just do 2 single crochets and continue doing single crochets until you get to the end. Once we get to this point, also do 2 single crochets and count 1 2 3 chains. Do a single crochet in that very third chain, and now do 2 single crochets inside the space and continue. Now we're going to work on this side and continue working 2 single crochets in each and every space until we get to the end, to where our slit just began. I've worked till this part where we started from, and now I'm going to do a slip stitch on top of the very first stitch that we started with. Chain 1 and cut my yarn, and at this point we are done with our project. So I'm going to weave in all the ends and just make sure that my work is clean and presentable. For sizing of this dress, you can use a drawstring at the back of the dress, and then you'll just tie it to ensure that your waist is snatched well. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you do make this dress, don't forget to tag me on my socials so that I can see your creation. Thank you. If you haven't subscribed, please do leave a comment. Please give this video a thumbs up. Until next time, bye bye and thank you.